Hello, you guys. Kristen here. Happy Friday. I know this is not the topic that I was planning to talk about this week. I was going to talk about ice cream this week. I'm going to postpone that to next week. This training today is dedicated to a few women who are very near and dear to my heart. This is for Abby, Jocelyn, and Danita, who lost someone really, really important in their life. Abby lost her dad this week, and so I'm attributing this to them. They've wanted to learn more and more about soy ever since incorporating more of a plant-based lifestyle. And this is a topic near and dear to my heart, but this is really more for the women I just mentioned. Because really, guys, like the people that I work with, they become family to me. And this is just for them. I'm gonna get emotional if I go more into details, but this is for you guys. Love you, and for everybody that wants to learn more about soy, especially for those of you who are plant-based or want to transition into a plant-based diet. This is going to be a great training for you, because I know there are so many misconceptions about soy and so many confusing points about soy depending on where you look on the internet. Some places say it's good for you, some places say it's terrible for you, causes cancer, and then you want to be plant-based, you're like, well, what's my protein source, right? So I definitely have been in that situation before. I have been plant-based for almost a year at this point. So I know I had a lot of reservations about soy, and a lot of the nutrition textbooks, especially, for some from like the 80s, 90s, some of that are like the foundation of nutrition. A lot of them say that soy is bad, right? And so I'm going to talk about why that is, guys, today, and kind of why there's so much misconception about soy. And I'm going to clear up a lot of things for you today as well. All right, so let's jump right into this: the good, the bad, and the truth about soy. And guys, I know typically I have my whiteboard and I have an office. As many of you know, I'm traveling, so I'm just going to talk to you guys today about this. I'll probably refilm this video, make it a little bit more professional looking, not in our bedroom here in the Airbnb. I've been kind of circulating around, figuring out my favorite place to film. But yeah, so I will definitely answer questions at the end of the training, or I'll try to address them as I can see your comments here. So comment below if you're joining me right now live. I'd love to know that you're here. If you were watching the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay. Let me know that you're watching. Let me know this is interesting to you. And most importantly, guys, at the end, let me know that it helps you and give me a takeaway from this video as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this topic. So when it comes to soy, the good thing about soy is that it is a phenomenal source of protein. It has all 9 essential amino acids. It's a great source of fiber as well. And so many Americans struggle with getting fiber into their diet. So soy is high in protein, high in fiber. And another great thing is that it's low in saturated fat. There's really no saturated fat. And I've worked with people that are very sensitive to saturated fats. Okay, so it's one of those foods that we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that is one of the benefits of soy. Also, guys, I know there are all different kinds of soy products on the market, and so I get a lot of questions: or what are the good sources of soy, right? Is tofu good? Is edamame good? So I'll talk a little bit about that here. So like the truth is that there are amazing sources of soy, and then there are less beneficial sources of soy. So the best soy you can get are the fermented sources of soy. Fermented means that it has bacteria, yeast, all of those good things that are going to feed the gut bacteria in your gut to have good gut health overall. So the best sources of soy are going to be tempeh. I talk about tempeh a lot. I've posted some recipes here in the group as well. And you guys in my Healthy at Home challenge, I shared multiple tempeh recipes, and so did the women in the challenge. Tempeh is one. Miso is another one. And the third best form of soy that's really hard to find in the US, but not impossible, maybe in some Asian grocery stores, is natto, Natto. And truth be told, it's not really a taste that most Americans are acquired to. It's kind of like a fishy, fermented taste, if you can imagine what that tastes like. But that is like one of the best forms of soy. Okay, then there's tofu, edamame, TVP, which is textured vegetable protein. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Trying to think what else. Soy milk, soy protein isolate, anything like that. That's going to be a unfermented form of soy, meaning it's just more processed for the most part. Except for whole soybeans, that's different. But tofu is a byproduct, right? So they're not like terrible for you. I will give some caveats here in a few minutes, but I did mention the better forms of soy, and then the ones that are not bad, but there are better ones out there. Okay, I don't like saying good foods and bad foods. I just say less and more, right? I always talk about that here in my group. Okay, another benefit of soy foods is that they're very high in vitamin B, and especially being on a plant-based diet, we have to make sure we're getting really awesome sources of vitamin B, or B complex, all the B vitamins, because a lot of times we get those in meat products, right? So if we're not eating meat, we can get vitamin B from soy foods, right? Soy is not only high in vitamin B, but it's also really high in potassium and magnesium. So those of you who are into fitness and recovery is really important to you, potassium and magnesium, you guys know this, are going to help you with recovery, right? And magnesium is also known to help with sleep. So those of you who struggle with sleep, magnesium is something that will help you, and soy has that as well. Okay, and I also mentioned that soy is a complete protein as well. Something I want to mention too in terms of health benefits. So there's all the talk about soy causing cancer. Well, there has also been many studies that have shown that soy is beneficial to not only premenopausal women but postmenopausal women as well, because phytoestrogens, which is what soy includes, it's not estrogen, it's phytoestrogen, which is different. They may also play a role in fighting cancer. And phytoestrogen, as I just said, is estrogen mimicking. It is not estrogen. There's a difference there, okay? And just because it's estrogen mimicking doesn't mean that it's going to create more estrogen in the body to a cancerous level, right? Actually, isoflavonoids, which are in soy, are known to be anti-estrogenic in humans. And this is where the confusion gets, because a lot of soy testing that has been done, that's been shown as problematic as cancer causing, or stimulating cancer in the body that's already there, making it grow. A lot of those studies have been done on animals, okay, and that's according to the University of Harvard University School of Public Health. Oh my goodness, it's Friday. I'm actually going to read you a little clip from a study they published, okay, and this is where a lot of the controversy comes from soy. In animal and cell studies, okay, high dosages of isoflavin or isolated soy protein extracts tend to stimulate breast cancer growth, right? However, studies on people consuming soy foods over time show either a protective or neutral, meaning no, effect. Okay, so just because it shows cancer growth in animals doesn't mean necessarily that it will cause cancer in humans. And oftentimes when studies release saying soy causes cancer, people don't realize what the objects were, like what they were studying. More importantly, what kind of soy were they feeding these animals, okay? If they were feeding them freaking GMO soy, right, soy, for example, GMO soy, that's not going to obviously be helpful, right? The pesticides alone in the soy can cause cancer, right? So we have to be really careful of what we're serving, and what kind of soy. It's probably not tempeh, a fermented soy. It could be a low quality soy as well. Okay. Also, this is from a study, I'm reading this right here. Women from Asian countries appear to receive greater protective benefit from breast cancer with high soy intakes than American and European women. But this may simply be a difference in the amount of soy consumed, right? And also the quality of soy they consume. So for example, in the US, we tend to eat everything to excess, right? And any food we eat a ton of, maybe except vegetables, like good quality vegetables, can cause a negative effect on the body, right? Well, even if you eat too many vegetables, that can be bad too. It might cause bloating. But, of course, like that's one of the reasons why we're seeing a negative effect of soy, right, in the US, is because we consume too much of it. Also from the School of Public Health, Harvard University, phytoestrogens don't always mimic estrogen. In some tissues and in some people, they may block the action of estrogen. If soy's estrogen blocking ovulating action occurs in the breast, then eating soy could, in theory, reduce the risk of breast cancer because estrogen stimulates the growth and multiplication of breast and breast cancer cells. Studies so far have not proven a clear answer. This is the key. There's so much doubt out there, guys. Some have shown a benefit with soy consumption in breast cancer, while others show no association. Okay, it appears the effects of soy may vary depending on menopausal status, the age at which soy is consumed, and the type of breast cancer. So there are so many variables, is my point. So we can't just assume that soy is going to cause cancer because that is a gross exaggeration. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is some of the consequences of soy. And the number one consequence of soy, particularly in the US, is that over 95%, I should say, of US soy is genetically modified. Any organism, any crop that is genetically modified means that it is laced with pesticides within it, right? So the crop itself is having chemicals in there, right? And those pesticides, right, are known to cause cancer. They're a known carcinogen by the World Health Organization. Glyphosate is the pesticide that I'm talking about, right? So that right there is cancer causing, right? So it might not be soy, but GMO soy can be, or non-organic soy. And I also want to mention here too that organic and non-GMO are not the same thing. That's important. So if you can find soy that is non-GMO and organic, that's the best. Because just because something's non-GMO doesn't mean they use organic farming methods. They can use conventional farming methods, meaning they can still spray pesticides, okay, on the crop. And if it's organic soy, if it's just organic, sometimes it means that it's not sprayed with pesticides, but it could be a GMO crop. So be mindful of that too. Not all soy products are healthy. I also want to mention that too. So for example, there are some products with like soy protein isolate, which is very highly processed. Soybean oil is super, super highly processed. I don't recommend soybean oil. It's also very high in omega-6 fatty acids. And as I talked about last week in my training, in order to reduce inflammation, we need to use oils with high omega-3s. And soybean oil is not one of those, okay? Now there is a really highly processed soy out there. It's called TVP, textured vegetable protein. That's actually what is in liquid aminos. And it actually comes in a bag. I forgot to bring it with me. I have it in my drawer here. It's like little crumples. It's in TVP is defatted soy essentially. So in the plant-based world, we use it for burgers, lasagna, sloppy joes, tacos. It's like a meat alternative, like a ground meat alternative. And what's really great about TVP is that it's super high in fiber and protein, no fat whatsoever, but it is really highly processed. So, there's the health benefits, yes, because of the macronutrients, but also, it's highly processed. So I only eat it like once or twice a week, okay, if that, maybe once a week. So that's just, being mindful of the highly processed foods of soy, right? Because just like wheat, just like corn, just like a lot of other crops out there, yeah, you're on a plant-based diet, but those are all highly processed most of the time. So just being mindful of that. Also, guys, soy is a common food allergen. And oftentimes people will experience like skin flare-ups, like they might get breakouts, or they might get bloating, or they will have some adverse effect from soy if you're allergic to it. Now, not everyone has that same effect, right? A lot of people give up dairy because dairy causes inflammation and causes scare flare-ups. But then they try soy and they're fine, and others are still allergic. So it really depends on the person. But just something to be mindful. Some people tell me that they start eating a plant-based diet, they're eating a lot of soy and they're breaking out. It could be they're overdoing it. So if you find yourself in that boat, maybe cut back on the soy you're consuming, opt for the fermented soy that I talked about earlier, and you will be better off, hopefully. Okay, so just something to consider there as well. Now, the truth about soy, okay, and I'm going to talk a lot about this. So I said this earlier, I guess. Soy is not estrogen, okay, but it's a phytoestrogen, so it's completely different than estrogen. Please get that right. There's lots of bad publicity around soy, mainly put out there by the Dairy and the Meat Council. If you've heard me talk before, you've heard me say this, that soy is something, or sorry, food lobbying is a problem. Okay, there's so many conflicting arguments about soy, about all kinds of health foods, because there are industries out there that are putting out that information, okay, and saying that soy is bad, and that's the Meat and Dairy Council, right? So you got to be careful of your sources and where it comes from, right? Also, too, not all soy is created equal. I talked about that earlier. You should opt for more of the fermented soy versus the non-fermented soy, the unfermented soy. Also, guys, if you buy soy, you must buy organic, preferably organic, non-GMO, okay, because that's going to be the most healthy for you and for your gut health. Also, eat it in moderation like everything else. Eat unprocessed soy as much as possible, like the fermented ones I mentioned before. The fat content of soy can vary based on which one you use. So I mentioned TBP earlier, which has no fat in it, whereas edamame is the whole soybean, right? So it's the least processed form of soy, but it's going to have some higher fat content. So if you're somebody that is trying to follow a low-fat diet, soy, you have to watch your portions there with the edamame, for example. Okay, but the truth, guys, I want everyone to remember from this video today is that it is an awesome plant-based protein option in many forms, right? That can suit any dietary lifestyle or dietary preference. Like if you're ketogenic, you're low carb, high fat, whole foods, plant-based, no oil, whatever. It will accompany all those diets, okay? But me, guys, I really don't like following like a strict diet plan. I'm all about food freedom and eating according to your lifestyle, your preferences, your choices. So if you want some help in creating that nutrition plan to serve your health and your weight loss goals, if you want to know more about soy and if it's going to help you or harm you depending on your health conditions, I can definitely help you with that. Remember, guys, you never want to take nutrition advice from someone unless they know you, right? They know your background, they know your health history. That is super, super important. So if you really want to know more about soy, if it's a good option for you and how you can eat it for your goals, reach out to me and I can definitely help you with that. CreateMyWeight.com/apply and schedule a free call with me, and I will definitely give you the whole lowdown on how I can help you achieve your goals, the strategy that you'll need to get there, and if you want to be plant-based, I'll help you with that too. That's my